Different. We got our final song here in this episode, and I'm really curious to hear what you have to say about this one. But this is Sleeping Bela with Insatiable. Called Insatiable, that dropped of the same name not too long ago. Phoenix, I'm gonna hold my breath here. I know you didn't really care for Intentions because I know the vibe is a little similar. Not really. Like, I would say there's definitely a lot of differences between this song and a song like Intentions with Beliefs. But what'd you think of Insatiable by Sleeping Bela?
Hey man, I'm honestly gonna break a rule right here of like what a good co-host should do, and I'm gonna throw it back to you. I don't want to start this one,
okay?
Especially going off of how I started Intentions. I'm gonna actually let you go first, and then then you can react, or you'll react to what you say.
Sounds good.
You will have that back and forth.
I like that. Okay, so Sleeping Bela, I've been a fan of hers for a little while. She's worked with an artist like Mako, who we're obviously a fan of. Spoiler alert, like Mako's song might be on the next episode. For sure will be on the next episode. But and of course his song with her, Lifelike, actually as well made my top 10 or even top 20, I should say, from last year as well. So I've been a huge fan of Sleeping Bela. I really like this song, bro. I freaking love it. This is a song where, like, similar situation with Intentions, where like late at night, dude, like, you know, I think it fits really well in the background, as like by yourself and whatever. But I also feel like it has such a very dark, deep sort of vibe to it. I even so much I want to say too, this is probably the darkest sounding song she's ever put out. Very much more of like a synth pop type of song for sure. I think it's very meditative. There's also even a little bit,
definitely a lot of synths in there.
A lot of synths, a little bit even entrancing as well. You know, even though this is definitely like it has Sleeping Bela's sort of hand on it, I can definitely hear how this is definitely much different than what she's put out in the past. Definitely a lot darker, as I mentioned. So really, credit to her for reinventing her sound a little bit on this one. The synths are very much in your face on this one, as you just pointed out, but then her vocals and reverb on the hook, I think, are really pushed to the forefront in the mix. I think it's amazingly gorgeous. I love her vocals on this, and I think her vocal performance is probably my favorite part of the song as a whole. And I think if you're someone that doesn't know Sleeping Bela, is not familiar with her, but this is the best way I could put it. Like, I'm not saying that she sounds, again, it's kind of similar to what I said about with Dev Soder. Like, I'm not saying she sounds like any of these artists or that she is any of these artists or anything like that. But if you like The Weeknd, Halsey, FK, Twigs, like if I could like take those three and kind of mix them all together, I think that's like kind of what it ends up kind of sounding like at the end of the day. And I think if you like any of those artists, I think this is a song that'd be pretty accessible for you, that it would fit well in like a playlist with those artists. I think if you could put it in a playlist with those artists, and it wouldn't necessarily like feel out of place or skip a beat. So right. I love this song. I love the vibe. I love the aesthetic. I think it's dark, but it's also really, I think she really contrasts it well and juxtaposes it well with her vocals. I think she's a beautiful vocalist just in general. Very breathy, very, in a lot of ways. So I love this a lot. Really big fan. And I'm nervous though, because you put it back on me. So what do you think of Sleeping Bela, Insatiable?
Okay. Well, there's no reason to be nervous. The track is solid.
Oh,
the track is solid.
Okay.
I think I have some gripes with it. I'll start with like what I like. I think maybe actually I'm gonna go back. I'll start with what I didn't like. And I don't even want to say that. That's a little bit too frank. It's like it's not even necessarily like what I didn't like. That's for like a lack of a better term. It's just critiques that I had. And it's first of all, it's runs for 44 minutes and 46 seconds. It's a long track.
It is a little long.
5 minutes. It's 5 minutes, and it has a slow build up and kind of a slow resolution. So I think like there could have been some space chopped up on both ends just to make it like, even when you just look at the runtime before you press play on your phone or on YouTube, it's a little daunting, and I think it also, again, this is a part of my critiques, I think kind of overstays its welcome a little bit. I think I kind of got the point of it after a while, and that's one critique. And
I can see that point.
And that's probably actually really my only critique, is that I felt like it dragged out, and there was parts of it, like I said, especially towards the end of the song, where the lyrics weren't necessarily really doing it for me, and at that point I had already gotten like a good dose of how great of a vocalist she is. That the song was just a little long, and it lost my attention. And the only reason, I'm only giving this one to be honest about my reaction, but also this can maybe be some constructive criticism, and I do think it takes away from a track when you have certain parts of the song where you're like, I just tune out at that point,
Yeah.
But kind of what we've talked about before is setting definitely plays a part into the perception of music and the enjoyability of it. And maybe this could definitely, not maybe, but this definitely has some nice ambiance to it and something I could have in the background. So going to what I do like about it, tons of cool, dark, ominous synths, kind of like you said. I think the delays and the reverbs also sound like very crisp and like clear and clean, and they add the effect that I think they're like, the intended effect was accomplished. You know what I mean? So I think she got that, or the team that also was behind the mixing and engineering got that. And Sleeping Bela herself definitely has very, very, very beautiful vocals. And I'm not unfamiliar with her, because you've spoke about her. You've also put her on a couple of your lists, so I have heard her before, and I've always come away with I haven't personally listened to a lot of her music, but I've always come away with like, damn, that girl can sing. Right here I have written down very, very beautiful vocals, very angelic kind of sound to her, because it's that soft, like, and it kind of plays into that aesthetic of Sleeping Bela. It's kind of this sleepy, soft moans from like what feels like could be from the heavens above, or from like some souls from very, 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 very deep below beneath the earth's core. Like, it, you know what I mean? It has that almost otherworldly kind of vocals.
That's a good way to
and this
put
is not just for me, like, kissing ass to make up for what I'm saying before. Like,
no,
she really delivered this really well. And I like that a lot. And then for some reason, I don't know why, Insatiable I thought was just a really cool word for a track, and then I saw that she had the whole project out, and then I just Googled the word Insatiable, I'll admit it, to double check I knew what it meant, right? and I had a feeling, I knew that it was a kind of like an appetite you can never really satisfy.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw that there's a movie. I don't know if you know this, Mike. There's a movie called Insatiable that actually is starring Debbie Ryan from Jessie, that Disney show. I don't know if you ever heard of that. But it's an old Disney show, Jessie, that has Debbie Ryan in it. And this movie, Insatiable, has her starring in it. And it's about this, which I thought with like the cover art that she has on YouTube with it, and kind of the aesthetic she has of like, she looks like this, Sleeping Bella, Sleeping Beauty, Bella, like kind of this dark Disney princess kind of vibe. So when I saw that Insatiable came up as this movie that's a dark comedy about a girl who wants to be a pageant contestant, like she wants to be a beauty pageant contestant, but it like eventually like leads to her, going through some unhealthy mental things of trying to, as I'm assuming anybody who's participated in beauty pageants struggle with. And like I said, I don't know if this is directly related or intentional, but it felt like it worked. Insatiable, the movie. So I'll, because I don't know if it's related necessarily, I'll move on kind of quickly, but it had to do with, somebody who was just somebody's looking for beauty or is pursuing or has this desire to feel beautiful, but is constantly in, kind of facing, just struggling with their perception of themselves, which I thought fit kind of also the theme of the song. You know what I mean? Where there's things to be desired, or there's a certain appetite for how you want to feel, how you want to look and move throughout the world, but you can't quite always get it. Or there's a certain reaction you want from a significant other, but their appetite or what they desire from you is insatiable, and like maybe it's just unachievable. Or you have this appetite for someone else that you are so hooked that you desire them at all times. Your appetite for them is insatiable. So that's me flexing that I know what the word insatiable means, but also
use it in context.
I thought, yeah, but I thought it tied in well again. So I don't know if that's intentional by her with the whole Debbie Ryan movie thing. But the song was beautiful. I thought it ran a little long. I didn't particularly come away with anything besides kind of plays on, in terms of like the songwriting, besides kind of plays on having an insatiable kind of appetite or desire for something or someone. So that, I would have liked a little bit more from the songwriting of it all, but again, maybe I didn't catch it. And yeah, but I do have a line written down here. Is it wrong to be sad when once there was a deadly sin that spiraled out into the wind? And I thought, I'm not going to cap. I don't even necessarily know what that means, but damn, it's beautiful. It's like, but yeah, that's kind of almost the vibe I was getting throughout the whole song. I wasn't completely understanding where we were going with it. And then with how long it was, I felt like, all right, we could wrap this up a little bit soon, but damn, throughout the whole thing, it was like beautiful and almost like ominously beautiful.
I think in a lot of ways, the fact that you said otherworldly, I think that's a great way to describe it. I think you described it actually very well. Now looking at it, it maybe is a little bit long. I don't disagree. Especially, it's funny you say that though, because like I think it's only long for today, you know what I mean? Because there were many 4 to 5 minute songs that came out 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago.
Definitely. So, definitely.
And
I mean, there was 8-9 minute tracks coming out from early hip hop. Like, people just went forever.
1,000%. And I will say this, there is a part of it that even though it's a little more angelic in the hook and the chorus than it is throughout the rest, there is a little bit of I'll almost go in the sense of like what I said a little bit about Jonas's motivation. My one critique of that song was a little bit tonal. So I do see that as being a little bit tonal. Maybe there would have been maybe a more dynamic part to the song that would have maybe broken up that 4.5 minutes. Or maybe if it had been 2.5 to 3, then there's really not an issue here. And I think similarly with something like what Dev Soder did with Brainless, that's 2 minutes, and you're begging you for more. It's almost that weird dichotomy where it's like you would almost prefer it to be 2 minutes so that way you're begging for more versus like 4.5 minutes and you're getting a little bit not bored, but just like you're getting a little bit.
Yeah, you want to leave on a high note though, versus kind of leaving on. Yeah, not bored, but it almost gets a little convoluted towards the end if we've run the song out, for a while.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. But overall, man, I think what Bella is able to accomplish on this song is just, I think it's gorgeous. I'm so like enamored with her as an artist and her sound. So this is something that I definitely like. Put it this way, for me, the 4.5 minutes doesn't bother me. I can see how it could bother others, and like especially if this isn't like a genre that you like listen to all the time or love. Like, how I mentioned, that I feel it's like, people that like The Weeknd, Halsey, and FKA Twigs, like if you liked any of those artists, I'm not saying she sounds like any of them, but like if you like any of those artists,
This
sonically,
is definitely in your ballpark.
it would be in your ballpark. And I love those 3 artists. So that's maybe why I gravitate towards it a little bit more. But overall, like, judging, all of it just encompassing, I think you said a lot of great things about it too. And I wouldn't even necessarily call those critiques or criticisms. They're more just like, I think, constructive criticisms